Hello and welcome back. Happy Shushan Purim. The day after Purim helps us manifest all this light, helps us reveal more of the light on a higher level. And today being the full moon of Adar of Pisces, it is also, um, we have the support of all the tzaddikim. So we want to invite all the tzaddikim to be with us during our study. We want to make sure we're not just studying from a book or listening to a class. It's really the tzaddikim that are teaching us. We have the revelation of Rav Shimon uh, that we hopefully will merit. And we're also exactly a month from Pesach, not to terrify anyone, but I mean from the positive side where the light is revealed, where the light of Pesach already begins to shine for us and for the world. So let's begin our study. I lost my voice a bit after yesterday. And I was not necessarily in the best state to prepare for our study yesterday. So we had a little less time, but hopefully we will manage. So the intention is always is to plug into the tree of life. No matter what any of us think, we are different today than we were 2 days ago. After going through Purim, our souls are different. The world is different. Our consciousness is different, and depending on the type of connection we made, then we'll be able to see those changes. But everything has changed, and we want to awaken an appreciation for the new version of ourselves, and not to fall back into the old version of ourselves. We've revealed so much of our soul over the past 24 hours. We want to keep that revealed soul in that state of revelation as opposed to reconcealing it and having to do it again next year. We want to keep our soul revealed. So through our study, through the Zohar, that helps us reveal more of our soul, keep our powerful and beautiful soul in its state of revelation, expansion, and allow it to continue to shine in new ways. Through our study, we plug into the tree of life reality. We transform all aspects of our limited selves, reveal more love within our own lives and in the world. We're meditating on all the places in the world that need protection. We want to, all the places that need love, that need compassion, that need the light of the Zohar. And that way we'll see the mercy in this process. With the prayer of the Ari, we open up our hearts, prepare ourselves to receive this great light, the messages that our soul needs to receive, that our consciousness needs to receive. ריבון העולמים ואדוני האדונים, אב רחמים וסליחות בנים אנחנו נתנך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו וכידה בשבילך ושקרבתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך ולעבודת הקודש ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה. מה נמך עינו שעשיתי מה חסד גדול כזה? על כן אנחנו מפילים תחנונים לפניך שבניחו ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו ואל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים אלינו לבניך. וכן יעשו לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו שלכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולאהבתך ותקשיב אוזנך לדברי אלה ותפתח לבבינו הערה בסודות תורתך. ויהיה למדנו זה נחת רוח לפני כיסאך ולאחר ניחוח ותציל עלינו עומק כל נשמתנו וכל בחינתנו ושיתנוצצו ניצוצות ידיך הקדושים אשר ידם גילית את דבריך בעולם וזכותם וזכות אבותם וזכות אבותם ותמתם ושבטם יעמוד לנו לבד נקשר בדברם אלו ובזכותם תרננו במה שאנו לומדים כמאמר נעים זמירות ישראל גלנה וביטנה נפלא בתורתך כי אדוני ייתן חוכמה מפיו דעת ותבונה יהיו לי רצונים מפיו והגלים לפניך אדוני צור וגואלי. So we're wrapping up this chapter. Yeah, chapter 5. And we're on paragraph 70. So we're continuing to explain the second verse of our portion. So we've explained the first parts already. And now the Zohar is going into the next part when it says, Vehuna et b'nei vilha ve'et b'nei zilpa. That he was a young man, which we explained yesterday, about the connection of male and female, the light and vessel, positive and negative pole that come together to reveal light, the connection that needs to be made to reveal light. It says, Et b'nei Bilha v'b'nei Zilpa, with the sons of Bilha and with the sons of Zilpa. As the Zohar will explain, as we know, Jacob had 4 wives, and Rachel and Leah were his the wives connected to what's called the front of the Shekhinah, and Bilhah and Zilpah were connected to the back. So the four sons of Bilhah and Zilpah were on a different level. And Joseph was the force that brought them together. So the Zohar continues saying, paragraph 70, Ebnei Bilhah v'Ebnei Zilpah, V'chulu kaima lechadet alon kikayaot. That all the 12 tribes, even the ones of um, even the handmaiden tribes, the ones at the back, as they're known, the back of the Shekhinah. When Jacob married, when when Jacob thought he was marrying Rachel, but instead he married Leah. Then he married Rachel, and then Rachel couldn't have kids, so she gave her handmaiden Bilhah. And when Jacob married her, she was no longer a maid. She was freed of her status and made a full-fledged wife. And the same thing with Zilpah. When Leah couldn't have kids, yeah, then Leah gave Zilpah as a wife to Jacob. So, so she was no longer a slave either, no longer a servant. She was a full wife. So their kids should be on equal status to the other kids, but because what has to do with their soul and the process and everything, which we've gone into a bit already, they contained a different level of consciousness, different level of light, but they were all still righteous. They were all still tzaddikim. So even though they're from the Achoraim, the Shekhinah, b'chulu kaima lechadet alon yaot. There's still all this the renewal with all of them. Ulishtash alon bechedva dilei. And with the energy of, I think it's saying Joseph here in the English, it says Joseph. Um, it might be the creator, I'm not sure. It's not clear to me if it's okay. Either way, they're all, let's put it this way, they're all deserving of renewal and joy and connection with the creator. Dechulu anfin, because they're all branches. Vechulu alin, and they are all leaves. Kulu idbachin mechedva dilei, and they are all blessed with his joy. So Rav Ashlag adds that even the achoraim of the Shekhinah, the back of the Shekhinah, which represents the lower aspect of it, where possible judgments or negativity exists, where a lower state exists, they're still deserving of the same light. And that's why it says, Rav Ashlag quotes this verse in Ezekiel that says, Lo ibolu alehu. We said that they are branches and they are leaves. So it says that their leaves will not wither, which means even the leaves, even the aspect of the back, should still receive that light and that flow. And that's what Joseph was doing. He was connecting the front and the back. He was unifying all the tribes for all of them to receive their light, because Yesod represents the funnel of all the light down to the other levels. So Joseph was responsible for helping bring all that light to all the tribes. Paragraph 71. Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef. In the verse when it says, these are the generations of Jacob, and it begins with Joseph. What does that mean? What's the connection between Yaakov and Yosef, Jacob and Joseph? As we've learned, Yaakov have a baby Yosef. That physically, Jacob and Joseph looked very similar, but their physical appearance was rooted in their spiritual similarity, in their spiritual affinity. Whatever happened to one, happened to the other. So the Midrash and everything goes into different explanations, the similarities of Joseph's life to his father Jacob. For example, we can't go into all the similarities. I also don't remember all of them now, but just as, let's say, Jacob was despised by his brother, Esau, Joseph was despised by his brothers. Just as uh, Jacob, um, he got married, he left the house, right? He left the land of Israel, he left the house. Joseph also left the land of Israel, left his house, left his family. Just as Jacob found his soulmate away from home, Joseph also, which also represents their spiritual status, that even though they left their home for the patriarchs represents, for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob represents a place of connection. When they left, it means they went into darkness. Jacob went into Haran. Haran is a place of negativity. Joseph also went into Egypt, a place of negativity. Not necessarily physically today, but it represents the consciousness of negativity. And even in those places of negativity, they still maintain their connection. Um, so all the similarities that the sages teach represents how they both play a similar role. Right? There's another 10, similarities. Um, Jacob made his children swear, or made Joseph and the brothers swear that he wouldn't be buried in Egypt. Joseph also made his brothers swear that he wouldn't be buried in Egypt. They both died in Egypt. They both went down to Egypt. Lots of similarities. But here, the Zohar is talking about energetically. And they both walked as one. So what does it mean they both walked as one? V'dahu raza de'at vav, and that's the secret of the letter vav. We know of the 22 letters, the way that you pronounce or spell the letter. For example, the letter aleph, the sound of the pronunciation of the name of aleph, use other sounds. Bet, you have the b and the t sound. Gimel, gimel, right? Dalet. When you come to the letter vav, the letter Vav is just v, right? It's Vav. It's just pronounced Vav. It's the same letter. And these two letters, it says that they walk together, which means the sound comes together. The sound of the letters is called movement. Tnuot, right? It's the sound, the movement of the letters. That's the vowels. The vowels bring life to the letters. So the first Vav is the level of Jacob. And the second vav in the second sound of the v in the vav, I hope I'm clear about that, if everyone's understanding what I'm saying, represents the energy of Joseph. So it's Jacob and Jacob is Tiferet, and Joseph is Yesod. So they're both letters that they both represent the sound of vav. And we know vav is the letter of the tetragrammaton of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, which represents Zerampin, the power of restriction, the funnel, the channel. It's receiving for the sake of sharing. That they walk together as one, meaning that their sound is as one. There are other letters, by the way, that have as this concept, like the tet, but there's a reason for that as well. That the sound is just the sound of the letter, not other letters. The name, right? Begin the inun razachada, because they are the secret of the same secret of one. They have the same secret. Udiokna chada, and one form, one image. Rav Shakir adds, as we've learned, that Jacob is level of Tiferet, Joseph is level of Yesod. They are both the central column. Tiferet is the central column of Chesed and Gvura. Yesod is the central column of Netzach and Hod. They both hold up the tree of life by being the central column, by balancing the right and left column. And that's why they are similar as one. That's why they had a deepest connection, right? It says that Jacob loved Joseph more than all the other brothers. It's not that he loved them more, it's that they had the closest affinity. Just like Isaac loved Esau more than Jacob. It's not that he preferred Esau over Jacob. Esau was a negative person. It's just that Esau was extreme left column like his father Isaac. So we're talking here about affinity, not favoritism, as we'll see as we go deeper into the portion. The connection, the bond that Jacob and Joseph had was purely because of their spiritual status and their energy. And then it says, Vayeshev divatam ra'ah lavihem. Joseph was reporting evil things, the negative things that his brother did, or he thought that his brothers did, to their father, to Jacob. So what was happening? Paragraph 72. That he would bring evil reports, negative reports about his brothers. And what were some of these reports? He reported three things, as Zohar will speak about now. How we've learned the Hava Amal Avoy Alayhu. He would tell his father about them. The Hava Achle Shaifa Mibale Chayin Kadinun Chayin. That they were eating raw meat from animals before they were dead. It's a concept called Eva Minachai. It's when you eat a part of an animal that is not yet dead. So, I mean, you see this in certain cultures, like, I don't know. I mean, it's not a kosher animal, but let's say if you would like take off a lobster leg or something, octopus legs or whatever, if the animal is still alive, again, those are not kosher animals, right? But um, this spiritual law also applies to not kosher animals. But either way, um, there's some, let's say if a person would cut off a leg of an animal while the animal is still alive and eat that leg, that would be under this transgressing, if you will, of the spiritual law of not eating a part of a live animal. So one aspect of what Joseph was telling his father is that they were eating from the live animal. And then another one, and it says that he brought the negative reports about his brothers. How could he how could how could the tribes do this, you know, this negative action? Excuse me. Now it's talking about the next thing that they would do. The second thing that they would do, the children of the shvachot, the maidservants, Bilhan Zilpa, their children, they were also considered of the 12 tribes. They were on equal status to all the brothers. So another thing it says that Joseph reported to his father is that the children of Leah would treat the children of Bilhan Zilpa differently. He would treat them, they would call them the children of the maidservants. They would disrespect their brothers and speak down to them as they were on a lower level. So the Zohar is saying, how could it be that these tzaddikim, these righteous people, would disrespect their brothers and call them call them names or a negative way, saying that they're in a lower status? How would they eat ever minachai, the flesh from a living animal? And they would be transgressing the direction of their master, of the creator. Because even the children of Noah had this this law, right? We know there are what's called the seven Noahide laws. These seven laws, they apply to all of humanity. While the Torah, the 613 mitzvot, was given by the Creator to the children of Israel, the Noahide laws, they were revealed in the time of Noah. Again, the world was restarted from the time of Noah and his three children. So these seven apply to all of humanity, regardless of religious belief. These are the basics of affinity with creation. These are the basics. These are not moral laws. These have to do with how to make sure a person stays in affinity with creation. So, number one, establish courts of law, ensure justice. Do not curse the name of God. Number two, number three, do not worship idols, meaning have a direct connection with the Creator and not other forms. Number four, do not engage in forbidden sexual relations. This could be, adultery or other forbidden relations. 5, do not murder. 6, do not steal. 7, do not eat a limb from a living animal. Number 7. So, and that's why it says, and after Noah left the ark, the Creator told him, do not eat you can eat animals, because until the time of Noah, no one ate animals. They only ate um, plants, because, again, this is sidetracking us, but um, until the time of Noah, people only ate from the vegetable kingdom, because the sparks of light needed to be elevated only from that level. But after the consciousness of the world had fallen so low, people had to reincarnate into animals, and in order to elevate their sparks, then people had to or could start eating animals, and that's when Noah and his children were given the permission. Everything changed, and then they now could eat animals, but they had to do it the right way. So the basic law was, don't eat it while it's still alive, because then you can't really elevate the soul of the sparks of soul that are in that animal. Um, Ve'inun hava achlele. Is it possible that they were transgressing this basic law of one of the 7 laws of humanity, of the Noahide laws, of eating the raw flesh, eating the flesh of a living animal? And they were transgressing the Creator's commandment, meaning the direction of the Creator. Ella, rather, Zohar answers, could it really be that they were doing these 2 negative things? Ella Yosef hava ka'ama. Joseph was saying it, but it was coming. He was misinterpreting what was going on. He saw something. He saw things, but he was wrong about what he saw. Ve'ada itanash, and therefore he was punished for it. Which means, whenever, and the Baal Shem Tov teaches this, a person only experiences judgment in their lives when they judge others. A person can do the most negative thing, but until they judge someone else for that, they don't experience the judgment. When we judge others, we open ourselves up to judgment. So when Joseph was going and bringing reports to his father, he was speaking Lashon Hara about them. And because of that, he created an opening for judgment in his life. And we know that Joseph went through what he went through when his brothers sold him into slavery or wanted to kill him. So they weren't actually doing these things, the Kabbalists explain. When he saw them eating the live animal, there's different explanations about it. Maybe, not to get too gruesome, but maybe they slaughtered the animal, and then while it was still, sometimes there's still nerves and things are still twitching. So maybe it was that, or another explanation is that they had an animal that was like um, if you slaughter a cow and the cow happens to be pregnant, the animal, like the calf that let's say the calf that was in the cow's stomach doesn't need to be slaughtered. You can eat that without slaughtering it. So the rules are different. Doesn't mean you should eat it while it's alive, but the rules are different. Another explanation, one of the Kabbalists say that actually they created a golem. They created with the names of Sefer Yetzirah that they learned from Abraham. They created some sort of animal, and that it wasn't real, so they could eat it. Lots of explanations about that. Same thing with how they were talking to the brothers of the children of the maidservants. Were they really speaking to them in a negative way? No, he misheard them. He misunderstood them. He didn't understand their dynamic. He was judging them in a way that wasn't true. Paragraph 73. Rabbi Yehuda says, Edi batam ra'a. What does it mean that he was bringing negative reports about them? What were the negative reports? What was Joseph saying? Here's the third thing that Joseph told about his brothers to his father. So the first one was they were eating the flesh of a live animal. Second one is that they were disrespecting the brothers of the children of the maidservants of Bilan Zilpah. Kamado Kumuan. And the third one, as we've learned, the Have Einahu Bivnot Ara, that they were gazing at the maidens of the land, the daughters of the land. We know that they live in the land of Canaan. The people in the land of Canaan, they represented a negative state of consciousness, and they were looking at them, which means they were engaging with them. Some say it says they were doing business with them. They were. It doesn't say that they were sleeping with them or anything, but they were even just looking at them. Vedahu dibatam ra'a leinaka. And this was the negative thing that Joseph said about his brothers. Why is it a problem to look at them? Because by staring at them, when you put your eyes, what you look at, you give your energy to, right? It becomes a part of you, and then you give your energy there. So by looking at the girls or by watching them, what he's doing, what they were doing is they were giving of their energy to them, and that represents giving the light of their soul to a place of negativity. The Atim Yisita Misava, because the people of the land of Canaan at the time were at a very low consciousness, and by looking at them, that would be giving their energy to a place of negativity and feeding the negative side. Now, also, they weren't actually doing that. He just thought they were because they would come and they would come to buy. They would do business with them, and Joseph misinterpreted the interactions and thought that they were doing negative things. So Joseph brought these three negative reports to his father, and it created separation amongst the brothers. It created animosity amongst the brothers, even more animosity, because everything he was saying was not founded on truth. All right, so that's this chapter. Let's go to chapter 6. The next verse says, now Israel loved Joseph, as it says, in verse 3, it says, Israel loved Joseph. Well, notice it uses the name Israel, not Jacob. Loved Joseph, right? Because the portion starts, and Vayeshev Yaakov, that Jacob resided in Canaan. But now it's using the name Israel, right? It's Jacob's two names. Anyway, so it says that Joseph loved Joseph more than all the other brothers. All of Jacob loved Joseph. Israel loved Joseph more than all of his sons. So what does that mean? Sorry. He loved him more than all of his sons. Kiven zekunim hulo, because he was a child of his old age, which also, right, because he was one of his last children. But then Benjamin was born after him. So why didn't he love Benjamin more than him? We'll learn about that as well. He made him a special robe, a special tunic with beautiful colors, striped, uh, multicolored coat. Paragraph 74. Rabbi Elazar opened and said, Lechami bo b'chaderecha uskod latecha ba'adcha chaviv kimat rega ad yavo za'am. So this verse in Isaiah, the Zohar is starting to bring in this verse to explain the dynamic between Jacob and Joseph, which explains the dynamic between the Creator and the Israelites. So in the verse it says in Isaiah, go, my people, enter your chambers and lock your doors behind you. Hide for a little moment until the indignation passes. So what does it mean in the verse when it says, Lech ami bo b'chaderecha? Rabbi Elazar is explaining, Lech ami bo b'chaderecha. Tachazeh, come and see. Kama kuchabrichu rachim l'Israel. How much is the Creator? Come and see how much the Creator loves Israel. And because the Creator's love for them, how the Creator loves them more than all the other nations of all the idolatrous nations in the world. Meaning, again, reminding ourselves, whenever we say love, we're talking about affinity. It's not that the Creator likes one person more than the other. It's that a person can be in closer affinity with the Creator depending on their consciousness and their actions and how they live their lives. So those who, for example, worship idols, they're in affinity with the idols, not with the Creator. They're in affinity with their ego. They're in affinity with negativity, not with the Creator. Azalon, the Creator loves Israel so much that the Creator warns them. Uvai lenatralon, desires to protect them. B'chomad de'inu navdin, in everything they do, which means the Creator gave us guidance. There's the 7 Noahide laws. There's the 613 mitzvot. These are the fact that there are 613 mitzvot, 613 ways that we connect or disconnect with the Creator. That's guidance. The 613 precepts show us in more specific ways what brings us closer to the Creator and what brings us further from the Creator. There are more ways that we can get closer to the Creator than those who do not have these 613 mitzvot. Every single one of the precepts is a bond that we create with the Creator, and every one of by not doing the ones the Lotas said, the ones we're not supposed to do, that also is a stronger bond to the Creator. Paragraph 75. Tachazeh, come and see. Tilat zimnin it biyoma. So now the Zohar is going to give more detail about the guidance that we receive. not just the precepts, but the guidance that we receive. There are 3 times in the day, that judgment resides in the world. When those times come, a person should be careful, and protect himself, and be watchful, to make sure that judgment doesn't come upon them. These are known times, we explained. So we'll explain what these times are. The Zohar will go into them, but just sneak preview. The 3 times that a person should be careful, watchful, should be watch out for themselves and guard themselves, be aware of the judgments. It's the dawn, sunrise, and afternoon time, I think, if I remember correctly. We'll go into it, but the Zohar will go through and explain what to do at those times, how to be watchful, protect ourselves at those times of potential judgment. Lots of love. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have an amazing day, and see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.